Hello guys, it's IAMWILL here and welcome back to part 2 of the comparison videos for World of War Thunder and World of Tanks' tech trees. We're doing Russian today. The Russians are slightly different the way their tech trees are laid out. Mainly because not every country has the same sort of tanks. So in the if you want to go see how I'm doing these videos, I'll do a more detailed description in part 1. So go watch the beginning of part 1, it will show you exactly how I'm doing this video. But really quickly, basically just going through the tech trees, pointing out exactly sort of where the War Thunder tanks are on the World of Tanks tech tree, and sort of the similarities in tech trees and sort of what tanks you have in the World of Tanks and sort of that sort of thing, as well as where I think these tiers are going to end up. I just mucked it up again. Where I think these tiers are going to end up, where I think they're where each tank's going to lie in the sort of where it's going to slot in, and yeah, just generally what I think about the tanks, and generally what I think about the actual tech tree itself. So the tech tree is looking really good. You've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, around 48. No, that's complete bullshit. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 43. Around 43 tanks in this one. In the German one you had around, I think, the 50 mark. I think, I didn't actually count that one. But in the German tree you had assault guns and then you had tank destroyers. In this we don't have either. You have self-propelled guns, which is a bit different, isn't it? They're not SPGs. They're not SPGs. SPGs not in the World of Tanks is completely different to an SPG in War Thunder. In War Thunder, a self-propelled gun, an SPG, is a tank destroyer. So your Su-85s, your ISU-152s, your Su-152, your Su-100, stuff like that. So actually, what we're looking at here is the equivalent to World of Tanks tank destroyers. So in World of Tanks you start off with the AT-1. Doesn't exist in War Thunder. You start off where the tree starts off, I presume, with a ZIS-30, which is looks like a very open top airy tank destroyer or SPG, self-propelled gun, and then you move on to the Su-76, which is your tier 3. So I'm guessing this Su-76 is going to be a early tank destroyer in War Thunder. It's a nice tank. I enjoyed that tank a lot. Then you go to your Su-85B. You don't in War Thunder. You go for a variant of it. Like I said in the German video, you actually have quite a few variants in War Thunder because that's how they were made. That's how tanks were made. In World War II, you started off with one tank, which would probably have been the Su-76, and then from that Su-76 you upgraded it. You saw, okay, this is wrong with it. Let's go for a Su-76M. Then, okay, this wrong's with it. Let's change it again and again. That's how all these tanks are actually created. That's why a lot of them look very similar. Sorry, I'm just having a glass of water. So then you have your Su-76 going up to your Su-76M, which is a variant to the Su-85, and actually we have an 85 and then an 85B and then an 85. In World of Tanks, your 85 is actually a variant or a sort of cross between the both. It's a link. They don't have that in War Thunder. They don't actually have that link in. Now, if that link is the Su-76M, I do not know. But it looks quite similar, and it is sort of the link in for the World of Tanks. So I'm guessing it's the link in for War Thunder as well. So you have your Su-85, and then you move on to the Su-85M, and then on War Thunder you miss out the World of Tanks, you miss out the Su-85M, and you go straight for a Su-100, which you both have. Gorgeous tank. Now in World of Tanks you split off to the two varianted tank lines here. So you go up from Su-100, you go for a Su-152, and then you Su-100M1. In War Thunder, you do not have the Su-100M1, you don't have the Su-101 or anything like that. You just stick with the traditional Su-152 line, ISU-152 as well. So you go from the Su-100 to the Su-122, and then the Su-152. So again, a lot of similar tanks here. You still have your Su-76, you still have your Su-85, you still have your Su-100 and your Su-152. These tanks are still very, very similar, but they just have a couple of variants here. Then you have your ISU-122 and then your IS-152. I'm hoping that the I think it's the Su-152 and the ISU-152 have the beef cannon. Don't know if it does. I'm really hoping it does, because that thing is hilarious. But no, I really hope it does. But as you can see, the tank destroyer lines are very, very similar. They're just called as something slightly different, and I think they're a slightly different tank to the German tree, because they're called something different. These are self-propelled guns, and in the German tree they were actually called tank destroyers and assault guns. So let's move on to your light tanks. Let's go down here. Now your light tanks are made up of, in World of Tanks, a bunch of trees. So you start off with quite a few light tanks here, and in War Thunder you just have a light tank tree. And what you start off with is a Su-26, so that's a tier 2 in World of Tanks, Su-26, and then you go into a Su-46, and in World of War Thunder you don't actually have the Su-46, you just go onto a Su-40 and a T-50, sorry, I'm saying Su, I meant T, T-26, T-40, and T-50. So the T-50 is the tier 4 extremely powerful light tank, the very maneuverable light tank. And actually it's quite early on in both games, so that's again very, very similar. You still have your T-26, you go on to a T-60. Now from the T-50 in World of Tanks you go on to the T-34 and off to your medium trees for finishing off with your T-62A object 140. And in War Thunder you actually go on to the T-60, the T-70 and the T-80 down here. And these are a completely separate tree in World of Tanks. So you go through the T-26, your T-46, your T-50, and then the T-60, the T-70, the T-80 are all the way over up here near your tank destroyers. And they lead on to the T-34 just the same as the T-50. It's just a different way of getting there. But in War Thunder, they keep moving on. The BT-5. We have in World of Tanks we have the BT2, the BT7, and they're going on to the A20. In War Thunder you have your BT7, and then you have variants of it, your BT7A, your BT7M. Going on to that, you don't actually have the BT2 at all in War Thunder. You just start off with that BT5, which is not in World of Tanks. Going on to your medium tanks here. As you can see, these all have years next to them. I'm not sure what the year signifies, but I'm guessing it's just some sort of way to variance, again, another variant system. So, you're going up here, the T-34, we're going to start the T-34. The medium lines are around here. So, you start off with your T-28. T-28 medium. No, we don't have that. We don't have a T-28. Oh, yes, we do. I lied. Yep, we have a T-28 there. That goes on to your KV-1. And it actually goes on to another variant of the T-28E, and then the T-34L11. We do have the T-34 here. It's not the L11. Again, it is just a T-34. And then you have variants of the T-34 in War Thunder. So you have your T-34L11, your T-34F34, your T-3457, your T-34 Year 42. From this, in World of Tanks, you just go to your T-34 and then on to your A-43 and your T-34-85. In War Thunder, you also have the T-34-85D5T and the T-34-85ZIS-53. So again, more variants. Going on to missing out the T-43, I believe. You're sticking to the 34, and yeah, missing out your 43 here. And just going straight to the 44 tier A tank. Then you go into your 54 year 47, and then more variants of the 54, and it doesn't actually have the T62A either. So you just stick into your T54 all the way up to the T54 year 51. So you go through your 50 year 70, 47, year 49, and year 51. Yeah. So again, progression's probably going to start around your T62, T20A. Even T28. Oh my god, I cannot talk. You're going to start your T28 and then probably work down this line and work down the other line. That's probably how it's going to go. If you want to know how the War Thunder leveling system, the tier system works, I do try and explain it in my beginning of my other video. If you want, guys, I will record the War Thunder tech tree and actually show you how it's, because it'll be easier for me to explain how it actually works if I'm looking at it. Yeah, so if you guys want me to actually explain how the War Thunder tech tree works and you don't know how it works, you haven't played War Thunder before, then I'll log on and I will show you actually exactly how it works there for you guys. Just ask in the comment section. Right, so going on to your heavy tanks, you start with a T35. In World of Tanks, you don't actually have it. You start off with the KV1 or the Churchill 3 if you bought a tank, and then it goes on to your KV2, your T50, your T105, 150, your KV1S, and stuff like that. So you're moving up through these, and then you go on to your IS, your KV3, and then the KV2 goes on to your artillery. So T34 onto KV1. We actually do have the KV1 here at tier 5, again, there's more variants of it. KV1L11, KV1Z, IS5, KV1E. I'm guessing the KV1 we know is the KV1E, but I cannot be sure. Again, the way World of Tanks upgrades are completely different to War Thunder. I explained in my first video, so if you want to know about how I think the upgrades are done in War Thunder, go check out the first video. It will be in the description below. KV2 there, which goes on to artillery and World of Tanks, but of course there are no artillery in War Thunder that we know of. So yeah, the KV2 just stays as a heavy tank, which is a bit of a beef. I'm hoping again that has the beefy ass gun on it because it's awesome. You go for the KV-85, which doesn't even exist in World of Tanks, and then you have the IS-1. So we do have the IS at tier 7, and that goes up to the IS-2 in War Thunder. Now the IS-2 year 43 and the IS-2 year 44 are actually Chinese tanks. So in the War Thunder, in World of Tanks even, they have Chinese tanks that are the IS-2s, as most of you should know. And in War Thunder, they are actually Russian tanks. In history, I'm not sure how they played out. I'm not sure who started with the IS-2s. I'm not sure if the Chinese bought the IS-2s off the Russians and then developed it further. I just know it's very, very similar to the IS in the way it moves and handles in War Thunder, in World of Tanks, sorry. I'm not sure what the difference is in War Thunder. It just labeled as the IS-1, the IS-2 year 43, and the IS-2 year 44. And then, of course, you go on to your IS-3, which is your tier 8, and then the IS-4, which is a tier 10 tank. There, on World of Tanks, it's actually in a different line, but that used to not be the case. They used to be the same line, the IS-4 and the IS-3. So, again, pretty standard. Again, most of the tanks are in World of Tanks. Most of the tanks in War Thunder are in World of Tanks. There seems to be a lot more variants. I explained why I think that is in the first video. And basically what I think is War Thunder goes for more a gameplay standpoint, where War Thunder, goes for more of a realism standpoint. Well, Tanks goes for more of a gameplay standpoint. So in Tanks, you're gonna get more gamey than realism, and in War Thunder, you're gonna get more realism than gamey. So at the moment in the beta, you have planes, because War Thunder's planes as well. You have planes that just rape other planes, and you're like, everyone's like, well, you need to nerf it, and yeah, they do, but they don't want to because that's how the plane did it in real life. So, yeah, it's hard. I think War Thunder's more developed around the historical battles. It's just the fact that everyone plays the arcade battles and the planes work differently. Arcade battles, the physics works differently and stuff like that anyway. But I explained more of why I think there's more variants in War Thunder and then World of Tanks and stuff like that in my previous videos. Please do go watch that if you want to. It explains stuff a lot nicer. This one is just literally just me going through the Russian tech tree. Basically, I think you're going to start off with something like probably the T26 and the ZIS-30. That's what I reckon you'll start off with. And then you'll probably work to something like the T40, the T50, going through that. And you'll start going through your SUs as well. And I think maybe you probably quite early on you'll unlock the T28, but I think that'll probably be around rank 2 or 3 you'll start getting your T28s. Then as you get to probably the T70, T80, BT5 area, you'll probably be around the Su 100, Su 85M area, and you'll start unlocking, I think, your T34 57s and your T34 year 42s. That's what I reckon. And maybe then you'll start unlocking some heavy tanks as well, your T35s and your KV1. Though I do think your KV1's probably a little bit longer into the reign. So I reckon you'll start unlocking your heavy tanks when you get up to the T34 and your Su 85s and Su 100s. So by this time I reckon you'll probably have most of the light tanks. You'll probably be around your BT7A, your BTM area, and you'll be unlocking, well, as you start to unlock the Su 152s and the ISUs 122s, you'll start to get to your T44s and your end sort of level T34s. You'd have unlocked most of the light tanks, if not all of them, and you'd start probably getting to your KV1Es and your KV2s, maybe even going on to your IS1s. I do not think you'll end up with the last tanks, but as you do reach the end of the you'll probably end up getting the ISU 152s as you hit the end level tanks. Would probably be the IS3, the IS4, the T54, 51, and your ISU 152, your ISU 122. I reckon they are going to be the last tanks you'll unlock. Because the leveling system in War Thunder is you level the country, you get the tanks, not you level the tank, you get the next tank, you level the tank, you get the next tank. You level the country and you just go through the lists, sort of thing, unlocking more than one tank at a time. I reckon you'll be getting the T54, year 51, IS3, IS4, and ISU 152 around the same level, around the same tier. The people who have played War Thunder will know what I'm on about. If you do not know what I'm on about when I come down to, you'll be unlocking them at the same time. Go watch my first video and I try and explain it nicely there. Right, and I think that's how the War Thunder tech tree for the Russians is going to plan out. Again, you don't have as many tanks you do in War Thunder, but World of Tanks has been out for a couple of years. War Thunder is still an open beta. But no, IAMWILL. This has been the tech trees. Please do go visit the socials, and if you like this video, please click like and subscribe, as well as sharing to all your friends. Visit me on Facebook and maybe even sign up to the clan World of Tanks community on Steam and World of Tanks if you want to play some games with us. And IAMWILL, and I will see you next time.